The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
And good morning. You're listening to the world famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO FM in Jesup, 105.5 on your FM dial, Big Dog Country. Butch over here along with Bob Morgan on this Thursday morning, the 25th day of April. World famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by the Wolf Animal Hospital on West Cherry Street, by Mike Bridge Ford in Blackshear, by Murphy Builder Supply in downtown Jesup, and by the Women's Help Center in downtown Jesup. And Bob, you got to be a happy man. Big victories for the Wayne County Yellow Jackets yesterday in varsity baseball action.
Did they took care of business like I said? I told you there wouldn't be no game Thursday. No game Thursday.
You're right. Bob was right with his prediction.
That's right.
All right. Well,
got the brooms out, swept them.
Got the brooms out. We've got lots of guests this morning here on the world famous Butch and Bob Show. We got Senator Blake Tillery in here right now. Then we've got also the hospital in here this morning with personnel from there. And then we also got the classic car show coming up in downtown Jesup, and Wade and Randy are here with that. So, Bob, let's get started with Senator Blake Tillery this morning.
Well, Blake's in time for the post-legislative luncheon, but I appreciate him coming by here first and let everybody know what's going on. But the station got over April 2nd. It was a wild and crazy affair up there in Atlanta. Like I said, we appreciate you calling in every Tuesdays with Tillery's. Again, had Wednesday with Workheisers, Monday with Mix. It worked out good for our listenership, but we appreciate you keeping us up to date. But today at the meeting, what's going to be the highlights for you?
Well, first of all, thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob and Butch, for letting me come on weekly and speak and give a little update of what's going on. I appreciate y'all doing that and allowing us to talk to the folks in Wayne, Long, and Appleton counties. Big things. We've talked about many of them already. The first one's the budget. Got the budget passed. After that, I think the next biggest bill that everyone knows about is the heartbeat bill. We expect the governor will sign that soon. And then the things that we've been talking about before we went to session. So broadband, well, the advances we made for broadband, healthcare costs, that was a big thing, and a little bit on education as well. You know, the big education item when the budget was $540 million in new expenditures for teacher pay raises, $3,000 per teacher. I know that'll go to their pocket and their bottom line. Teachers are expecting that. The governor promised $5 million, made a great down payment on that, particularly with the budget items. That raises average teacher pay in Georgia to $58,000, gets us up well within the median, the upper end of the median for the Southeast as well. Broadband, we talked about this for 3 years when I've been coming and talking to you and telling you this is my mission of making it such that folks don't have to go to McDonald's or anywhere else to do their homework at night now that we're doing so much homework from schools online. Senate Bill 2 passed. It's going to allow Satilla EMC and the other EMCs across Georgia to come into the broadband market if they want to. People miss, though, that Senate Bill 17 passed as well, which is going to allow some smaller telephone companies to get in there. We're going to throw everything we can at this wall and see if we can begin to give the same type of speeds and benefits to rural communities that we're seeing in our urban communities.
We had a story today on the news, the voting machines. General Assembly passed, we're going to have the machines where now you do your machine on touchscreen, but you get a paper ballot to, check to see that it's accurate. But I saw where it doesn't matter what machines we're going to get, they're going to be in court again. I mean, it seems like everything winds up in court. Why is it such a big issue? Why don't people understand the need for accuracy?
I feel the exact same way. We knew before, it did not matter which machine we picked, we were going to be in litigation and being in court afterwards. So what we try to do is do what I hope I'm always trying to do up there, which is pick the best. An electronic machine, so that if you can mark it, if you're disabled, you can mark it the exact same way as if you walk in there and you're 100% healthy. No discrimination or differentiation between those. It's a ballot marking machine that, again, you get a printout that you can read before you run into a scanner, which is your official ballot, and let the scanner scan like a Scantron, like most of us did in school, that records your official vote. So I think it's really the mix of the best of both worlds. You'll hear people say that this machine doesn't work. You'll hear people say that the only thing we need to do is paper ballots. So that's the only way to ensure that there's no fraud. And I'll point them back to Dodge County and other counties around here to say that paper ballots had a little bit of fraud. In fact, when I was at the Capitol as an intern, I remember Jimmy Carter talking about the number of people who voted against him alphabetically in his first state Senate run, and I'm pretty sure they voted by paper ballots too.
The only thing I questioned, the big argument I heard was about the cost. I see where 4 companies that bid, but they have to meet the $150 million. They have to stay within that budget, or how's that work?
Well, that's the budget that the General Assembly's laid out right now. That one item is the one that concerned me the most as you were looking at, or you're talking about $50 million, you're talking about $150 million. But there was something else that doesn't really get reported as much, and it's this. When you're using paper ballots, you have to print out 3 different types of ballots for every single precinct in a number of 50, and that's to make sure that if someone does come in, maybe Bob comes in, decides he wants to grab an independent ballot that day. Maybe he wants to grab a Republican ballot. We don't know. So you have to print out those paper ballots anyway and be ready for them. And every single precinct requires a different ballot. So it's not just the precincts that we have here in Wayne County. Think about how those school board districts overlap with state house race maps. In the Senate, all of Wayne County is in the 19th Senate District, but the House gets split between Representative Stephen Meeks and Representative Werkheiser. So when you have those overlaps, you're creating a lot of ballots you're really just going to end up throwing away anyway. So one of our more astute members of the Senate ran the numbers and realized that break-even point was a lot closer than folks were reporting.
The session's over. If certain things got passed, the governor's going to sign or not sign. Anything that got left on the table that you regret that didn't get passed?
Well, you always think that we can do more about healthcare costs. We did several things this year. One of them was the bill that I carried, Senate Bill 106, that dealt with trying to reform our Medicaid program and then moving over into helping reduce healthcare costs for those of us in Georgia who are paying privately for our healthcare insurance. I do think that there's more to do there. We also took and moved into a direct doctor-patient relationship, set up some contracts for that, so that patients can deal directly with their doctors, set up the guidelines for that to maybe get insurance out of the game and see if that helps us reduce costs. I think you're going to see us revisit that issue again next year. I think you'll revisit the issue on education a little bit next year. All that, though, is going to be within the confines of what we've got as the state budget. I've told you on here, I wrote in my columns last week that we were below revenue. I didn't know if we were going to make budget for the 2019 year, which ends in June. Also letting you know that next year's budget's predicated upon a growth of this year's budget. But it looks like in some of the numbers I've seen trickling in that Chairman Jack Hill from Reedsville has been kind enough to share with me, as I now vice chair the committee with him, the budget committee. The numbers are looking a little better for April. It looks like we'll be up around $370 million. If those numbers hold, if we're up around $400 million, then that really will make budget for 2019, which gives us a lot calmer feeling going into 2020.
Well, we'll see you at the post-legislative luncheon, have more comments from you on our local news. Before you go, though, I just want to thank you. You lined up the governor for us. You lined up the lieutenant governor for us. So that was a nice thing to have on our Butch and Bob show, to have both those call in live. So that, like I said, our listenership appreciates that. But thanks to you, you were able to line it up. Well, and we appreciate it very much.
You're giving me credit for it, but I think it's the reputation that y'all have built here with this show, and also the reputation of the folks here in Wayne County of being so supportive and getting out there and letting folks in Atlanta know what matters to them.
Well, I just know how busy those guys are. For them to take time out, like Butch said, we're like the envy of every radio station across the, because when they hear that they're on the world, they're like, well, why can't we get?
Well, when I walked in and said,
we just appreciate it.
I told them I need you on a radio show, the next line out of both of their mouths was Butch and Bob, so they knew where we were going.
And it was interesting talking to both of them, to Brian and to Jeff, to the governor, lieutenant governor, last week at Wayne Dasher's function over there for Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. They both said how much they enjoyed being on the show and look forward to being on again.
Well, y'all have done a great job, and again, the people of Wayne County have done a great job of building a reputation that I'm proud to try to uphold in Atlanta.
We'll look forward to seeing you today at the post-legislative luncheon. Like I said, we'll interview you, get more comments from you, but appreciate you, all our representatives. We said it during the session, we said it during the course of the year. Our representation is always accessible. I tell people all the time, if you want to get in touch with Blake Tillery, Stephen Meeks, and Bill Werkheiser, all you got to do is pick up the phone, email them, because they'll get back with you. And a lot of counties and cities I've talked to, it's not that way. So we appreciate the accessibility that you guys provide for us. And again, appreciate you calling in every day on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you for letting us serve. Y'all have a good morning.
Take care. All right, Senator Blake Tillery here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. Well, coming up next, we've got Jill coming in from Wayne Memorial Hospital. She's going to kind of introduce a new person there at the hospital, and that's coming up next here on 105.5 FM. And then after that, we're going to talk about classic cruisers in downtown Jesup this weekend. 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country, WIFO. More of the world-famous Butch and Bob Show in a minute.
South Georgia weather.
Here's your WIFO forecast. Hi, good morning. Partly sunny, southwest breeze later 10 to 15, highs low 80s. Tonight, chance of showers, slight chance of evening thunder, then showers likely low 60s. Tomorrow, cloudy, windy, showers likely, slight chance of morning thunder, then a chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms upper 70s. Saturday, sunshine, high of 80s. Sunday, sunshine, highs in the mid 80s. Georgia meteorologist John Weatherby in the GNN Weather Center.
Get artsy with us. Friday, May 3rd, the Downtown Development Authority will host an art walk for First Fridays in downtown Jesup. Come take a walk through the very first mural maze located in the alley beside Angels on South Macon Street. Murals from over 20 amazing local artists will be featured, along with storefront art displays at local merchants. Enjoy painting and art activities for kids of all ages. Don't miss the very first art walk on Friday, May 3rd from 5 until 8 p.m. in downtown Jesup.
105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO. We continue on with the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. And, Bob, we've got Jill Blizzard in here this morning.
From the hospital. She's always bringing guests and gifts, so always good to see Jill. Appreciate you coming in.
Well, likewise. Thanks for having us.
We like the guests, but we love the gifts.
I come bearing gifts. Yes.
All right, Jill Blizzard here from Wayne Memorial Hospital. Got a new person to the hospital here.
Yes.
And let's talk about him.
Yes. Our featured guest this month is our Director of Physical Therapy, Mr. Nick Rex. He's been very busy with patients. He comes here from Atlanta. He actually has experience at a trauma center up in Atlanta. But I'm just going to hand it over to Mr. Nick and let y'all meet him and go from there.
All right, Nick Rex, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, moved down here from the Atlanta area, and what is your official title at Wayne Memorial Hospital?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. So I am the Director of Rehab Services there at Wayne Memorial.
Okay, all kinds of rehabs, physical, occupational, all that?
We have physical therapy in both outpatient setting and the acute setting in the hospital setting, and we have occupational and speech therapy both just in the acute setting.
Okay, now how long have you been director there at the hospital?
Since November of last year, so just about 5 months.
And were you recruited down here? How'd you move from Atlanta to Jesup?
There was an opening here at the hospital, and I was coming back and forth for a while we were in flux trying to find a permanent position, and enjoyed my time here while I was covering, so we decided to make the permanent move.
Okay. And so what kind of patients do you work with each day? How are you helping folks with the therapy there at Wayne Memorial Hospital?
Sure. So we see a lot of orthopedic conditions, both surgical and non-surgical. In our outpatient setting, we're going to have the post-op patients, whether it be total knees, total hips, back surgeries, and just your general orthopedic conditions like shoulder pain or back pain. In the hospital setting, we're going to see a lot of different diagnoses, both surgical and non-surgical, where we're trying to get people back on their feet and just get them to the next stage of life, whether that be back home or to a nursing home or with home health therapy. And those are the decisions that we make there in the hospital setting.
So you do it in-house, basically, and you do have therapists to go to in-home. Is that correct?
Not in-home, outpatient setting, so in a clinic, and then in the hospital setting. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so tell us a little about the history, the background of Nick Rex. Tell us a little, give us who you are, since you ain't around from here.
Yeah. So I grew up down in Camden County in St. Mary's, Georgia. Got my undergraduate in exercise science at Georgia Southwestern State University in Americus, Georgia. Met my wife there. We have since been a few different places in Georgia, lived in Savannah for a while, and that's where I got my doctorate of physical therapy degree at Armstrong. Moved to Atlanta for a little stay, and then now we're down here in Jesup and enjoying our time.
So you graduated when Camden County High School?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you play sports there?
Baseball. Yes.
Baseball. Yep. Well, Bob probably called one of your games.
Yeah, so it got on, and actually at Georgia Southwestern played baseball there in college.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
All right. Good. So Americus, right?
Americus, Georgia. Yep.
Yeah, I remember. I know the college there, plus that old hotel in downtown Americus.
Yeah.
Is it still open?
Sure is. Yeah.
Isn't? That's an historic hotel there. Now, when people come into the hospital for therapy, are they recommended by their general physician or a surgeon? How do people get to your department for therapy?
Right. So in the hospital setting and both in our outpatient setting, since we are connected with the hospital, we're going to need a physician's referral before we're able to start treating that patient. In the hospital setting, it's more of a short stay, so hopefully we're getting people in and out as they are improving their condition, whatever they're there for. In the outpatient setting, we'll do an initial evaluation and then determine the plan of care based on the condition that they're seeing us for. But generally, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then move them on as it's appropriate.
Okay. Now, in a small town, we always want to know about your family. Who did you bring in town with you, Nick?
My beautiful wife, who I am every day lucky to have with me, Allison, and then my 2 kids, Hudson and Haley. So
Okay.
Hudson's 3 years old, and Haley is just turned 9 months old.
Wow.
So we have our hands full there at the house.
Okay. Does your wife stay home? Does she work?
Yeah, she does. She actually was fortunate enough to be able to continue to work remotely from home from the job that she had in Atlanta.
All right. Got your master shirt on, I see.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be able to go. We went to a practice round this year, but that tournament was one of the more exciting ones I've seen in the last few years.
Yeah. Jill, anything that you want to say about Nick this morning?
Well, I just want to let people meet him, and maybe let's give out the phone number maybe for how people can call.
Okay.
And the hours maybe and the days of the week.
So, like I was saying earlier, we do need a physician's referral before we can begin treatment. If you do have a referral and would like to start treatment, you can give us a call at 912-530-3184, and our office manager, Jennifer Sievers, will be able to set you up, depending on your insurance, and let you know what the next step is from there.
Okay. Well, welcome to Jesup. I know you've been here for several months. I hope you're enjoying our community and the people and the hospital, and I hope it's a long stay here at Wayne Memorial Hospital.
Thank you very much.
All right. Jill?
A couple of quick things.
All right.
I know you've got some guests out in the green room still. We are closing out National Volunteer Month for April, and I just want to give a shout out to our volunteers. In 1 year, they gave 14,550 hours of service to our facility. And if you put a dollar figure on that, that comes up to $370,000 in donated labor. And then they gave a cash donation of $27,000 to our new cancer center across the street. And that $27,000 bought 8 infusion chairs so that they can help with the patients that are coming in locally for their chemotherapy treatments. So all in all, in 1 year, they just contributed just shy of $400,000 to our facility. They work in the gift shop. They may greet you at the front desk. They may carry lab specimens for the cancer center. They do a wide variety of things. But if you're listening, and you have just 3 hours a week, that's one volunteer shift, I'd love to chat with you about how to become a volunteer. There's a lot of fringe benefits to it. Give me a call at 530-3115. And also, they do these fundraisers, which helps pay for these donations to the hospital. And they've got one going on today. It ends at 3 p.m. It is in our lobby, and it's a group called Collective Goods. They have a little bit of everything. They've got gifts and gadgets and books. One of the coolest things I saw was a stationery set yesterday. They have a wide variety of stationery sets, so you don't have to run out and get a birthday card at the last minute. They'll sell you a whole box, and you can just keep it at your desk. So anyway, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
People mail those still?
Yes.
They do?
Yes, they do.
They just don't hit the electronic thing and send it to you? You can go like cute little things on the computer?
Okay, now some people do that. But a lot of people these days.
I don't know how to do that. I'd rather send a card.
Yeah, it's nice to receive a handwritten note.
Right.
And they had a wide variety of these stationery sets and card sets. Some were handmade, some were printed, but I would just encourage you to come on by. There's stuff at every price level. They also had some nice Mother's Day gifts, some nice spa-type products, the moisturizing socks, the charcoal peels, things like that maybe a mom wouldn't think to buy for herself. She would probably provide for her kids something else. Right. But they also had items for kids, books and toys.
All right, so Collective Goods flash sale going on today at Wayne Memorial Hospital in the lobby as a fundraiser for the volunteer group.
Yes, and I'm coming back next month. We have a new ENT that will be coming with me, so I'll go over the rest of the items then.
Sounds good. Bob,
right.
Questions, comments for our guest this morning?
I appreciate you coming. Nice to meet you. Nice said.
All right, y'all take care. We got more guests coming up on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. We're going to have some good-looking cars at downtown Jesup this Saturday. We're going to talk to folks who know all about it in just a moment.
This is the week where we salute all secretaries and administrative professionals. The following businesses, individuals, and organizations would like to salute their secretaries and administrative professionals. Altamaha Federal Credit Union salutes Cynthia Arnett, Kay Askey, Rita Bennett, Madison Christian, Brittany Crawford, Kenneth Davis, Melissa Dumas, Jennifer Gravely, Lori Moore, Rachel Moore, Katie Pritchett, Gail Pye, Dana Rigdon, Erica Scott, Sharon Sellers, Micah Silver, Ashley Sweet, and Annie Vickers.
WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, world famous Butch and Bob Show for this Thursday morning, 25th day of April, and classic cars in downtown Jesup this weekend. We've got Randy and Wade in here this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How y'all doing?
We're kicking.
You're kicking, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about the Altamaha Classic Car Show coming up in downtown Jesup this Saturday.
Let's let Randy kick us off here.
Go ahead, Randy. Randy Franks.
Well, it is Saturday.
Fleetwood Mac T-shirt on.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
How about that?
Yeah. Are you going to Wild Adventure Sea Journey this weekend?
No.
No, I figured you'd be rocking out. You got your Fleetwood Mac on there?
We had a chance to go hear Fleetwood Mac in Columbia back in March, and Joyce and I heard them at ABAC in 74 or 5.
Oh, wow.
They looked a lot different.
Yeah, we all look a lot different than we did in 74, 75.
But it was a great show. It was a good show.
Okay, so let's get the classic cars.
Saturday, 9 till 2, and it's going to be on Cherry Street, but it's going to be around the Jesup Insurance Agency, where the bank, American National Bank was.
Right.
And Bank of America.
Well, you'll just see the cars down there. You won't be able to miss them.
That's right. You'll see the cars, and we're not right on Cherry Street, but we're about the next best thing, I guess, to be right there. And we're looking for a big crowd. We have a lot of people saying that they're coming, going to attend. And you know what's interesting to me is we always have different cars. I mean, you think you've seen all the cars in this area, and then people show up with different cars.
Right.
And that's kind of neat. You're not looking at the same ones every time.
Because they come from all over Brunswick, Savannah, Statesboro, Valdosta, North Florida. We typically have a minimum of like 80 cars, and it can be up to over 100. So we're expecting a good turnout.
And you're talking about cars from 30s, 20s, all the way up till to
new hot rods.
New hot rods.
New hot rods.
You got the classic cars, but you have the new hot rods too. So it's a great variety of vehicles from all different time periods.
Resto mods. We got new trucks. We got classic trucks. So we just have a good mix of because the car enthusiasts group is changing over time. Traditionally it's always classic. We start out as classic cars, right?
Right.
Muscle car era primarily, basically starting in like 1955 through like 72-ish. But now there's so many new cars coming out, like the Mustangs and the Dodge Challengers and those cars with the 392 Hemis in them that are just, awesome horsepower right out of the factory. So we're embracing all those folks as well.
Okay. What is folks' fascination? I mean, both of y'all are and have been for a long time. What's the fascination with the classic cars, of spending so much money on cars that maybe were $3,000 at that time, and now you pay $50,000 for it?
I think it's growing up with them, don't you, Randy?
Yeah, I think it's growing up with them, and I just like vehicles, trucks, cars, whatever. So I'm not a motorcycle guy, but anything with four wheels, I like to drive it. Tractors.
Okay,
that's right.
I just like vehicles. And
another thing is that we're on the short end of the road, and we're all just caretakers of these vehicles, right? We own them, but we're really just caretakers for them because they're going to be passed along to somebody else. And hopefully through our efforts, we're going to be able to generate interest in them with some of the younger generation that will keep the cars going forward over time.
Right.
That's right. But you made a good point. We'll have some 20 model stuff. We'll have some 30. Some of the best cars around here are 30 model Fords and Chevrolets, Then you get into the 50s, that's some of the iconic stuff. And
That's right.
60s and 70s, there were some great muscle cars. Then we didn't have so much of the muscle car, that muscle car.
It kind of died off in the mid-70s. It didn't come back until
Emissions.
The late 90s or something like that?
It came back in the 90s, and, the big three, they all started. It was like a muscle car race to see who could have the most horsepower.
Right, now you got the 700 in the trend.
Some of these younger people, they like those just like we like the Mustangs and GTOs.
Right.
And Chargers and so forth back
and
in
me
the
Camaro.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly.
That's right. So it's kind of shifted around, but.
Yeah, you do have a lot of muscle cars out today where for a long time you didn't. I mean, every single one of them is trying to out horsepower and out torque the other one. And so there's a lot of muscle cars to choose from today.
You can get like the Dodge Demon, cars like that. They're probably $100,000 cars, but from the factory you can have like 800 horsepower. That's crazy.
Who needs that many?
That's crazy.
I'm just not that interested in getting from point A to point B that fast.
No. But let's just say the reason that we've moved off of Cherry Street is, of course, we did the big drive-in event. I wanted to touch on that while we're here.
Sure, go ahead, Wade.
Because the Hickox, they really support us in every way. But our drive-in event that we did out there, and that's when we were here last time, we were very successful with our first endeavor out there. We had like 220 cars showed up, and they sold like 600 tickets to the drive-in theater that night.
Wow.
So it was very successful. I just wanted to say that. And, of course, they're interested in doing that again, and so are we. So we're looking towards that. But with the Strand Theater being on Cherry Street now, and with the Avengers movies coming out this Friday, that kind of shifted things around, so we had to adjust what we'd been doing over time and blocking off Cherry Street to moving just off Cherry Street down at Jesup Insurance. And
so you're going to be all around Jesup Insurance building down there, the old bank building.
Right.
And
next to Cafe Euro.
Yep. All will be down in that area. You'll have the classic cars, and folks can go down there and see that and have a good time and walk around. Plus, there's other things going on with it. Are they raffles and drawings and kind of stuff like that? Is it a fundraiser?
Yeah, we raffling off a rifle. Randy arranged that. Randy, you want to talk about that? Our raffle stuff?
We're raffling off a Remington Model 700 rifle with the scope, and should be a good package. And then we also have a large Yeti cooler that was donated by Ace Hardware. So we'll be drawing twice on that raffle, and each of those probably worth around valued at $400 or somewhere in that range.
Okay. Now, what are the hours of the Classic Car Show this Saturday?
9 to 12.
What's that?
9 to 2.
9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturday in downtown Jesup.
That's right. And we'll thank Ralph Trapnell for allowing us to use his facility there. That really helped us out a bunch.
Well, good. Yeah. And the weather's supposed to be, I know we got rain coming in tomorrow, but Saturday's supposed to be sunny. Lots of sunshine on Saturday with a high near 83. So a good-looking day for the Classic Car Show in downtown Jesup this Saturday.
And again, our main sponsors, R&R Camper and Auto Sales. They sponsored us at the drive-in event out there, and they've been really, really good to us over time sponsoring our events, and we certainly thank them.
Okay. All right, Bob, any comments or questions? All right, gentlemen, anything else?
We're good.
All right, we'll see you in downtown Jesup on Saturday.
Thank you, man.
Good-looking cars and trucks. All right, world-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by Murphy Builder Supply, Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup, by the Women's Health Center in downtown Jesup on Chariot Broad, and by the Wolf Animal Hospital on West Cherry Street.
The world-famous Butch and Bob Show.